Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? What a gorgeous Sunday evening. It's almost a shame to be inside, although it does look like I am outside. I had a few people comment that, hey, wait, I thought you guys enclosed the lobby. The picture doesn't look enclosed. Well, that was their old picture, so I got us a little better look at the front of the lobby with the glass doors. So anyway, hopefully that's back working all right. We're still learning all the technology with this. So, hey, Paul,
Hey, Dan.
how we
Happy
doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, guess what? Right before we all got kind of closed in, I said we were going to go and visit Dorothea, and then we were going to go up and have lunch with Sheldon again. Well, I was able to get in and see Dorothea about a week before we all got kind of closed down. And today, I gave Sheldon a call, and let me see here. I've got something here for Sheldon. Where is it? Here it is. It's Sheldon's birthday today. Happy birthday, Sheldon.
Happy
Of
birthday, Sheldon.
course, we all know Sheldon was on the board of directors. He was started that halfway through that first year in '62. And I'm guessing at 2011, because I think he wanted to quit before that, but they talked him into staying through the 50th anniversary, and I think that was 2011. I found some video of Sheldon that I'm going to work on ripping down and having for us here. There was a video of Sheldon walking around, and Sheldon, Andy, and Dorothea actually walking around. Maybe on one of the Sunday nights, we can do a founders night or something along those lines, show some of that video. But it also showed Sheldon in a show. And I remember him telling us about that when we went up to have lunch with him. At least I think it was then, where he said, my job was to sit on a chair and then I had to die. And that's the video clip I found. I have to just figure out how to get that so we can look at it. But anyway, Sheldon, happy birthday. Should we say how old Sheldon is today? Sheldon is 90 years old today. So Sheldon, happy birthday, and thanks for all you've done here for TLP and keeping the place up and running all this time, and also all the advice and the help that you've given both me and Paul over the past few years. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sheldon asked me a question today in that phone call, and it's a question that we've been getting quite a bit of. And basically the question goes something like, hey, what's up for the summer? What's going on? And, as Paul said last week, we've been doing a lot of planning and trying to figure out what's going on. And we're just in another phase of that. In fact, we started on Thursday with another planning session. Worked over the weekend. We'll work Monday and Tuesday. And then Paul and I will be giving a presentation to the executive committee on Tuesday night, and then to the full board on Thursday. But there's been a lot of changes at TLP. We've added spring and fall programming. We've added concert series. We purchased the barn that used to be basically on loan to the theater. We've enclosed the lobby, as you can see with the doors behind me there. We've done food and drink on the deck. And typical planning is we ask ourselves 4 questions. Is it something the patrons want or we think they would enjoy? Secondly, can we afford to do it? Thirdly, can we hire the people that we need to be able to do what it is we want to do? And then the fourth thing is, are we getting to the point where we've saturated our present staff and we're doing much more than we can? And for the most part, and everything we've done, it's been yes for all of those. Except maybe that first night that I had 40 orders of sandwiches when I was cooking on the deck. That was, I kind of looked at number 4 and said, I think I'm doing more than we can handle. So anyway, Bill took care of that, hired a real cook. The problem with today's planning is it's much different. Everything that we have.
Yes, it is, Dan. It's because a lot of.
Paul, say that again.
A lot of it is it's a guessing game. There's a lot of X factors in so much play. And so, what we can do is we can set up specific scenarios of when we can open and how that looks and what kind of shows we can do and what kind of shows where our audiences want to come and see. And that can change on the dime the very next day. We follow the CDC, we follow our state local governments, and we find out what kind of information they're giving us. And every single day we learn new things, and that helps inform us on what is possible on our end. And for us, our audiences and our employees and their safety and health is the most priority. That's a top priority for us. And so we always have to make sure that we are taking in all this information and being able to put together a plan that if and when we do open, we are following all the necessary safety precautions and making sure that our audiences are feeling safe, our employees are feeling safe. And unfortunately, this is something that we haven't seen in our lifetime. The last one is 1918, 1916, 17. And we're just, it's a little bit of a Wild West game. So, the good news is that we have great communication from our audiences. We like hearing from them. We like hearing what they're comfortable with. And we're using that to our advantage to make sure that if when we do come out and we do open, everybody feels excited, safe, and getting ready to get back to TLP.
And to help us do that, yesterday we put a survey out, and by noon today, Paul, we had 150 responses to the survey already, and it went out last night about 6 o'clock. And it's a survey that we're going to use basically in helping us to understand what it is our patrons are looking for and what patrons how they're going to handle when we open back up. It'll help us in our planning. So if you haven't taken that survey yet, we have a link for that on the Facebook page. There will be a link on the website after tonight, and there is a link in the email that we sent out to our patron email list yesterday. And we'll put another link out on the website, and we'll do another e-blast probably tomorrow, and then we can analyze some of that information on Tuesday and present that to our folks Tuesday night.
We should also mention that the survey is quite easy. It takes about 5 minutes, if that, to do. It's all multiple choice, and it's just questions that help arm us and give us some information on what our audiences are comfortable with. So again, it doesn't take very much time, but it means such a great deal for us. And the small amount of time that we ask you to take the survey can help us greatly in being able to plan how and when we can open. So we do appreciate everybody being able to do that for us.
And what we have done at this point is we've pivoted to a lot of online content, our Sunday Night Live show. And probably so we can shift this show to more entertainment and less Q&A. Paul and I are thinking about doing actually a question and answer show. We're not really sure when we'll put that out yet. Coffee with Paul and Dan. The problem with coffee is that would have to be in the morning. We don't get up that early anymore. Now, we could real easily do it 11 o'clock or midnight show, but coffee at that time, I don't know, maybe bourbon with Paul and Dan. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
During the season, we also do drink a lot of coffee during the season, don't we, Dan? We always have our 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock coffee breaks.
Absolutely, and I've got mine going right here. All righty. Well, so and we're doing a virtual fundraising. We're looking at the possibility of doing a concert with the stars. A couple years ago, we did a concert with the stars with Andrew McCardle, who came in and performed for us. And we're looking at how we might do that virtually sometime in the next couple of months. The gala committee is looking at the possibility of a virtual gala. Maybe we could call it the masked ball, and everyone wears their COVID masks, and we give a prize out for the best COVID mask, or the pajama ball. Maybe that's the direction we should go. Anyway, we'll be listening to that a little bit, and of course, that we've been doing our Throwback Thursday. Here's a picture from the 2010 season. We've got Andrea Lay and Jay Ellis from Charlotte's Web. They were in the 2010 production, Magic Owl production of Charlotte's Web. So if you've got a good idea of what Andrea might be saying and what Jay's thinking behind her back. Put that in, win $10 at TLP bucks. Good for anything here at TLP. And I just talked with Robert a couple of minutes ago, Robert McFletcher Jones. He is our education director, and he is flying on our virtual education program. And I think it's going to be awesome. Hopefully in a couple of weeks, we will put something out to everyone about that. So, well, anyhow, we've got great guests tonight. Let's see. We had a little trouble with Laurie's system. Let's see. Hi, Laurie.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy.
My computer wasn't allowing for the StreamYard platform. I had to do it through Chrome, and then my computer closed down, and then I went on my iPhone, and that wasn't working. And then I was like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you did. You know,
Hi.
Laurie, where are you from originally?
I'm from Forreston, Illinois. So
Yeah.
like 40 minutes east of Mount Carroll.
I drive through Forreston twice a day, once on the way to Timberlake and once on the way back to Byron at the end of the day.
Yeah. I grew up on a dairy farm there.
Yes. Yeah. And did a lot of high school theater.
Well, you know, I did a lot of music. Our high school was so small that we didn't have a budget to do musicals, but every other year.
Okay.
Music Man my freshman year, and then I was Rizzo and Grease my junior year.
All right. Who was your director?
Diane Dietmeyer.
Okay, I know Diane. Yeah. We worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And then
we had represented last season. We had one of our ensemble dancers from Forreston, and she was representing, and she was great. So
that's great. Yeah.
Of course, her name escapes me right now, and that's embarrassing. But
oh, listen, I was there. You know, when I visited last summer, I said I was there 25 years ago. So, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
It was great to meet you. I loved seeing you last summer.
So
it was really fun.
How did you get re-engaged coming out to Timberlake?
Well, let's see. I am in Chicago now. I've been in Chicago since I moved to Chicago right after my summer there in 1994. And I always kept sort of in touch of what was going on at Timberlake, but I saw an ad for Mamma Mia and that Darren Mangler was in it.
Mm-hmm.
He was around when I was there the summer of 1994. And I thought, you know what? It's been a long time. Let's get out there. And I went out there and it's changed so much.
Yeah.
You have the whole, my mind's blown. First of all, that the actors have air conditioning. We did not have that. No. The barn that you were referring to just a few minutes ago, that is where we all ate.
Right.
Just lunch and dinner in that
we
barn.
have just restored that kitchen.
Yeah. And there was a communal bathroom shower building. There was a telephone booth where we could make phone calls. I mean, if you wanted air conditioning, you went into the theater. Yeah. Yeah.
There's your telephone booth. I really wish you guys would have kept that. What a prop that would be today.
I know.
Yeah.
I drove out last summer and saw the shows and realized how much I missed it and how it was really emotional because I went back to my box of Timberlake and reviews and programs and pictures, and it was a pivotal experience in my journey as an artist because you were there to do the work. You know, I was lucky. I got 7 shows that summer, you know, one after the other, and everyone was there to do the work. You know, everyone was the same. The costumers, the set designers, the lighting designers, the stage managers, front of office, the actors. It was one big family.
Well, and the nice thing about even today, even with air conditioning and some of the other amenities that we put, we still can say that about every resident company we've had. They are here to do the work, and that makes this place a lot of fun.
It is. There's nothing like it.
Well, I remember one of the things you said to me last summer when you were here was that we're spoiling the actors with.
Yes. I mean, I'm sorry, but are you putting a dance floor on the pad? and
It's,
case
it's,
that
all,
with netting.
it's already there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it has screen around it.
Yeah, no.
And had COVID not happened, we had a grant from DCEO to enclose and air condition the rehearsal hall. We call it the pavilion now. We don't call
Okay,
it.
Okay, now we're venturing into territory that's not. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Laurie, tell our audiences about what the experience was like when you were here. Give us a day in the life of what it was like when you were here back in '94. What was like, how did the schedule work back then?
I found one, and I was reading through it, and this is in July. Rehearsal for Rumors until 12:30 lunch, and then Rumors rehearsal again with a 2:00 curtain for Charlotte's Web, which I was in. So I went from rehearsal to performance to dinner at 5:30 to 7:30 half hour for Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah. So
how about that? And Jesus Christ Superstar is on this list for this summer as well.
It's just I love that show. That was the other thing. That was the only show that we body mic'd. The rest were without mics. Yeah.
Really?
Because it was a rock band and it was so loud that we needed to have the body mics.
Yeah.
Rehearsing, eating lunch, eating dinner. After the show, there was the volleyball. We played volleyball sometimes after dinner before we would go do a show. We also had duties around. Like I found a list of, we alternated between who was going to cover in-house cleanup or the bathrooms, which aren't the bathrooms you have there now, which are beautiful. But it really gave an artist a chance to focus on the work and to learn from one another. I mean, we had guest artists come in, of course. Jane Brody was there. She was the casting director in Chicago at the time to do Rumors. So you were elevated to those people that were brought in. Same with Harvey. There was a guest artist that came in. Jim Zavanet was artistic director at the time.
I remember Jim.
Yeah. He really, he's a primary force in my growing and my learning as an artist. Yeah.
Well, Laurie, we have one of your castmates with us tonight. Let's bring on Matt Fahey. Hello, Matt.
Matthew!
Hi, Laurie.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Paul. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Wow, I can't agree with Laurie more in what a transformative experience the summer of '94 was for me. And I'll say, Dan, actually, first off, I met my wife there, and we have a 4-year-old now. And just for all the universal things to line up for us to get, that's us in the backstage.
You guys backstage.
That was during the opening music of Harvey backstage. We sat back there for about 10 minutes listening to the music because it was all this beautiful 40s music. And we would dance. Like one of the song right before we went on was A Kiss to Build a Dream On. And we would always dance. And so that's our song. That's been our song for 26 years. And
here's a photo that was in the newspaper of you and Trisha. Who are the two in the back? Do you guys recognize those two?
Yeah, the one was a guest artist that came in to play Harvey, and the other one, Jim. I think Jim.
I think his name was Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Anyway, but just Dan, right over your right ear, on the north end of what was the porch, was where my wife Trisha and I had our first kiss.
Oh boy! You can buy for a very small donation. You can buy a plaque to put there.
Oh.
Well,
nice anniversary gift.
And now that I know there are equity contracts, I might I'm definitely going to be auditioning for you guys.
That's right.
Very good.
So.
That's so great that you guys met your wife and Matt, tell a little bit about that. Like, what was that? Was that right away? Did you guys meet, or was it like, because for our audiences, usually our summers go about anywhere between 13 to 15 weeks long.
Yeah.
So was that love at first sight, or was that a slow grow over the summer?
It was in between the two. So Trisha came in a couple weeks early to do Nonsense 2.
Yep.
And I started the second show, Harvey. And I did Harvey, Jesus Christ, Rumors, and Oklahoma. I was supposed to play Jack Butler in Annie Get Your Gun, but something fell through with the rights, and so they switched to Oklahoma, and I did Will Parker for that. And initially I was a little put off because I was like, why don't I get Curly? But then I realized that Will Parker is such a fun, it was just, that's the part. And it also kind of, and this was, it was my first show out of school, and it showed me that there are so many more options than like leading man, you know, all the character stuff you can do. But anyway, back to meeting my wife. Yes, she was very skeptical of me at first because she saw my headshot. Jim Zwana was showing the headshots of, oh, he's gonna be fresh meat and all this. She was like, oh, he's gonna just have all these summer romances. And so she was really cool to me at first, but then we had to spend so much time, like condensed time learning our lines, because you don't have a lot of time to get going. And you know, you want to be off book as much as possible when you're on your feet. So we pretty much spent all our free time together. And then we got to know each other really, really quickly. So I'd say before the end of the first week, we were kind of making eyes at each other. And
we had asked Trish to be on with us tonight, but she's busy on another call.
Yes, this crazy Zoom COVID thing. She's got a book club that used to meet in person, but now it meets online. And between that and she's got the lad. But and then it was. It's
fantastic because a week is a month during Timberlake. We always say, you know, because we do work.
Can you repeat that, Paul? You cut out.
That they say a week is a month and a month, a day is a week and a week is a month.
Yeah.
It felt like many summers packed into one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But touching back to with what Laurie said about just the good people and the good experience, everybody there to do the work. And that being my first experience out of school, I was like, oh, this is great. I love being an actor. I'm so happy. I chose to do my life with this thing. And then you realize that it's not always the case. That you're in some shows and some people are in it for different reasons. And, you know, or they're, you know, in life, you're in places in your head and bad places. So I don't want to, you know, disrespect anybody, but I will say that it's notable and special when you get a group of people that are there just for the work and they just want to play nice and have fun and, you know, do the best job they can. And that was what Timberlake in our summer was like.
And it's one thing that we always take with us.
What's that?
We always like to create that environment, and that still holds true today, is being able to create an environment where artists can be artists, and that's all they need to worry about, you know. And that's one of the wonderful things about the lake, because it is so remote that you really, if you're not here for the work, you shouldn't be here, because that's all we're going to do. And it's really a wonderful find young artists coming out, and that's all they want to focus on, and that's all we do. So it's really it still holds true today that we like to create that world.
Well, maybe you guys can help me with something.
Okay.
I have been trying to figure out. Now, Laurie, we know that's you there on the right.
Yeah.
Who is the guy up in the top?
That's Dan, right?
It's Joe Rath.
Oh, Joe. That's right, Joe.
He was our Jesus and Jesus Christ superstar. Yeah.
And is this him playing Curly?
Yes.
That was Joe Rath.
Joe Rath.
Oh, Rap. Okay. All right. And then, well, look who we have over here on the left.
I don't know who that is. Who could that be?
Oh, well, I tell you what. Let's bring her out.
Hi guys. Hi. Can I tell you a story about, okay, so wait, okay. So our director, Dan Yurgaitis,
Oh, Dan, yes.
wanted to hire me for the part, but she said her hair is too short and it's too red. So if you look closely at that picture, you'll see it was this like $2, piece that I found somewhere and that I dyed. It was that's not real hair. That the real hair is at the front, and then I put on some weird ponytail to like make it into a stage worthy. Oh, why am I fuzzy? Sort of wig moment. Oh God, it was. I don't know what I was doing. I was 19 years old. It was my first job ever, and just like Matt and just like Laurie, I was like in it to win it, and like so excited to be there that I was going to do anything to make my hair longer so I'd get the part. You know.
And Kate, I think you came in like even a couple days later than the rest of us.
That could have been true.
We were supposed to do Annie Get Your Gun and the touring, because the rights were pulled, and then now we're doing Oklahoma.
Yeah. And
so Laurie
was going to play Annie, and she, I think, I had just finished my freshman year at Northwestern. She had just finished her senior year at Northwestern. And I remember, so there was no part for her in Oklahoma. They needed a soprano. And my mom was best friends with Lynn Wild, who was married to Jim Vonnet. Mm-hmm. So Lynn called my mom and said, do you think Kate would like to come and do some summer stock? And my mom, said to me, would you like to try out for this? And I said, and leave my data entry job at a bank? Yes. Of course I will. And my dad was like, harumph, didn't like that at all. But we drove down. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we drove down in a day, and I went and I think I sang for Jim for a song. And he was like, great, you get the part. And it was amazing. And I had an amazing time there that summer, because I think my whole freshman year at Northwestern, I just, I didn't get to do any theater. So I was having doubts about what I could do, or if I would, be able to. And then here, this job sort of like fell out of nowhere. And it really sort of, everybody taught me so much. I was just like a sponge that summer. I just, with my bad hair, I just like sucked it all up.
Tell us about your summer at TLP.
Well, that was it. I was only there for the one show, just Oklahoma, because they just needed a soprano just for that part, because Laurie had played Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar. And I don't know who else was there for Nonsense, but I guess they didn't have,
nobody else.
Yeah. So that's the part they needed, right?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And yes, just everything that Laurie just said, like no air conditioning. We had to clean the bathrooms. There was no scrum dance floor. Sarah Beth Jackson was there playing Ado Annie, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a woman not wearing a bra. And I was like, what's going on? I had no idea what was happening. Yeah. We got paid $75 a week. Walter Bruni would go to the bank and like cash our checks for us. Yeah. We could have like cash money if we wanted it. It was amazing.
Hey, Kate, do you remember Kate and I roomed together in cabin 1?
We did. Yes, we did.
And I warned her, I said, listen, there will be frogs that come into our cabin, and it will be okay. They did.
I don't remember.
And did frogs happen to find their way in?
Yeah, they came into the cabins.
Well,
and then, Matt and I were in roomers together, and there was at one moment I had my arm over the back of the couch, and I felt like this tickle, and I looked, and it was a daddy long legs. Crawling across
now
my
we have tons of ladybugs. Ladybugs infest the place.
Ladybugs are lucky though. So
they are.
Yeah.
Well, then we have lots of luck.
Yes. But we still do have the frogs. When the rains come, the frogs come with them.
I have an actually somewhat risque story. Is it okay to do? And Laurie, you might be able to help clarify something that I've been curious about for 26 years. Is it?
Right.
It's not rated X. It's rated R.
Okay.
Okay. So this was after, I can't remember if it was Oklahoma or Jesus Christ Superstar, but Trisha and I got out first, and you always wanted to get out fast so you could get a shower.
Yes.
And quite often you were showering with a frog or with a daddy long legs. But Trisha and I thought it would be fun to sneak in a shower together before everybody got out, because we got out like really fast. And so we went into the girls, the ladies' showers, and we showered really quick. It actually wasn't fun at all because we were just trying to. It was like so we could say we did it. We got really fast, done. We're about to get out. Somebody comes in, and then somebody else comes in, and everybody's talking. And Laurie, you were in there, and yeah, and everyone was talking, and I was like, oh. And then something happened with the water. Sometimes the water would go from hot to cold and cold to hot.
That's right.
So I think it was you, Laurie, and this is the question. Somebody said, because Trisha was silent. We were both silent. We were mortified. And it was you, but I can't. Somebody, are you okay? And and at that moment, the water went scalding hot, and it burned my back, and I was like, and Trisha was like laughing, and like and right after that, I just grabbed my stuff. I was dripping wet. I think I might have even left my towel in there, and I just ran out and ran straight into my room, closed the door, and kind of, I don't know, hid under my blankets or something. But
I don't remember that. I don't.
Okay.
No.
That
well done.
Us heartily for PDA for the rest of the summer. Okay, so that was.
I think that might be another plaque.
Yes. Anywho.
Well, it's
I do remember
earlier you were saying that Trisha was a little skeptical of you and just sort of checking you out. Because by the time I got there, by the time Oklahoma, you guys were like 2 peas in a pod, inseparable. It was love. And nobody anywhere.
Yeah. Jane Brody called us the ubiquitous Matt and Trisha.
That's right.
They were just everywhere.
So sweet. I'm so glad it worked out.
It did. It did. We're still buds. We're still loving it.
That's so great.
You know, this is the second story that I've heard since my time here that that a couple has met at Timberlake and ended up going on to get married. First being a couple that was here in the 70s, 1977, the 77 season, and they ended up meeting here. One was a technical director, one was a performer dancer, and now they run the Performing Arts Center in Galena, Illinois. And they came to they introduced us, and they said that we were here in 77, and we met and fell in love and married, and they've been married, I think it's been like 40 years now. So it's just wonderful to hear these stories.
Yeah, there's such a romance to the place. I mean, romantic love aside, there's a romance to it. You know, just the thunderstorms that percolate in the river valley and just come storming across, and
the stars.
The stars.
Have you guys experienced any power outages when you were here during the summer? Because I could tell you in my 3 years, we've had a few of those. One happened actually last season when we were striking. We were striking a show. We had to get the next show up Sunday night, and bam, big lightning. You know, it was one of those where you saw the lightning, and then 7 seconds later you hear the thunder, and then at the end of that thunder, bam, all the power went out. And we were in the middle of strike, and we were like, ooh, fun.
Yeah. I remember in Harvey, I think there was some line or scene change where like everybody was exiting, and somebody had a line like "Let's go," and then bam, and then the guy playing Elwyn said "or not," and it got a great laugh. But we just froze in place until it came back up. It was probably maybe 15 seconds. Felt like an hour, but
yeah, the beauty of live theater.
Love it. Yeah.
Do you guys remember in Oklahoma that they had to, we used a shotgun for Aunt Eller to break up the fight that was about to happen, and they preloaded it. But the one night they forgot to half, you know, it was just a big boom, and it was the full load, and it about took my shoulder off.
Yes, I remember that. Bad. I'm so glad you were okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That was scary.
Yes. Back in the day when safety protocols were, yeah.
I mean, they were there. It was just one of those fluke things. I don't, someone may have loaded it and didn't tell the other person, and I don't know how you check that. So they loaded again.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah, wasn't she Dream Laurie?
Yes.
The ballet?
Yes.
Laurie. Yeah, she was a dancer. And that's how she met Jim Zvonek. She was a dancer, and she was training to be in the Columbus Civic Ballet, and she injured her knees and got bursitis and couldn't dance. And so she was trying out acting, and it was that brief window when she was trying out acting. She auditioned, and Jim brought her over, and she was the sensible one. And actually, she's a civilian now. She's not in acting anymore, but yeah, it was a lucky thing that she was a dancer, and she did the Dream Laurie.
So good.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I tell you, one of the things that we've been doing on this show, which I really like, is telling the story, the audience maybe a memorable moment during your time at TLP. Was it could be anything from a role or an event that happened. Share a moment, and tell the audiences kind of one special moment that you remember from your summer at TLP. Laurie, what would yours be?
It would have been the opening show, Nonsense 2, and I was playing Mother Superior, and I'm 5'10", Kate's 5'10" too, and was wearing character shoes, so you're 6 feet or so, 6'1", there I am. And it was after one of the final dress rehearsals, and Jim Zvonek came up to me and he said, "You're not taking the stage." And I didn't know what he meant. And I was confused. And he said, "You have earned the right to be here. You are tall. You can't avoid that. Use it. Own the role. You deserve to be here. Take the stage." And that has stayed with me my entire career.
Sounds like great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you killed,
Matt,
both of you guys killed every role. I know, Kate, it was that one role, but you totally killed.
Thank you.
What about you, Matt?
I think, okay, other than the shower, which was pretty notable for me. There was a moment during Rumors, and at this point, I think a little of the fatigue had started to settle in terms of like rehearse during the day and perform at night. And so it was the opening of the second act of Rumors, and Glenn, the character I was playing, has a little exposition speech to kind of get the audience back, because it's a farce and there's all these comings and goings. And I think that one of the one character who there's a character who's off stage the whole play. There's no actor. It's somebody's wife, and she's like sick or something like that.
Right.
I can't remember. It's Myra or whatever. For our purposes, let's just say Myra. And I'm running through the list of the status check of where we are and what's going on. And I think I'm supposed to say Myra's sick. And instead, for some reason, my mouth like got ahead of my brain, and I said, "Myra's dead." Ooh. And then everyone on stage looked at me with these big eyes, and I was like, "What?" And then I realized what I had said. I was like, "No, Myra's not dead." I'm still sure she was dead. She's just sick. She's sick. No, Myra's very, very sick, but she's not dead.
I remember that.
You do remember that. Yeah. So take foot out of mouth.
I love that.
That would be a moment.
That's so good. That's so good.
How about you, Kate?
I was only there for the one show, so I don't really have a specific moment like that. I just remember having the feeling of being, between my freshman and sophomore year of college, and not being sure about my ability or aptitude or any of it, and sort of being welcomed into a group of people that I considered incredibly influential and who welcomed me. And it was really nice to be treated as somebody who knew what they were doing, because I sure didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
You did. Yes, you did.
Student, and I was so happy to be considered one of the gang, honestly, truly. And so that's why I have fond memories of TLP.
She slayed.
Well,
Totally.
what
Totally.
happened most of the time.
Kate, you grew up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Of course, you're a Packer fan then, right?
Do they? What sport do they play?
Oh, cut it out. And when you went to Northwestern,
I did. Yeah.
and came to TLP. Tell us what you've been doing since. Where'd you go? Where'd you go after TLP?
I went back to school, and then I hung around Chicago for about 2 years after I graduated in 1997. I did about 5 shows at the Marriott Lincolnshire, which is a great equity house a little bit north of Chicago. And then I moved to New York in 1999. And since then, I've done about 6 Broadway shows. I've been nominated for a Tony Award twice. And now I live in New Jersey with my husband and my 9-year-old son. And we're keeping on in the face of this weird, unprecedented time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching a marketing video through Capacity Interactive, and all of a sudden, Kate comes on and sings an incredible version of Maybe from Annie. And then
I always wanted to play Annie when I was a little kid, because I was, a little girl with red hair, and my mom never let me do it. So I had to grow up and do it.
yeah, that was awesome. And then I also saw you on the Mother's Day thing. Yeah, I'm watching a lot more content. We live out in the country, and it's back to like when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Our trees have grown up so much that it covers our satellite. We get 4 channels.
Wow.
I watch a lot more YouTube now than I have before. But I thought that was an incredible opening to that Mother's Day thing with you guys from Hello Dolly doing that.
Yes, that was a very special company, and it was moving to me as well to see everybody from that show pitch in and sing a line from the show. We did that show. I did it for about 2 years. It was 2017 to sort of August of 2018. And it was a very heady experience to be in a hit Broadway show. I'd never been in one before. All the other ones that I've been in were flops. And to have that kind of attention and have audiences, like, I joke about not being a sports fan, Dan, but if you came to see Hello Dolly and you saw people react to watching Bette Midler on stage, you think you were at a Packer game. They lost their minds. They got so excited. It was like a weird hybrid of like sports and theater. I'd never seen anything like it. And that was a once in a lifetime experience. It was so cool and so much fun. And I got to meet lots of fancy people, and I got to play pretend for a living and, buy a house. It was amazing.
Yeah.
What were you working on right before everything was shut down, Kate?
We were doing something at Encores. So City Center Encores is a program that has been happening for probably about 26 years. And 27 years. They take old musicals that have not really had a major revival and try to extract what is entertaining and good about them, and do a sort of a concert version. And so we were doing a version of Love Life, which is an old Kurt Weill, Alan J. Lerner musical from 1948. And Vicki Clark was directing it, and it was starred Brian Stokes Mitchell and myself as a couple who sort of go through all the stages of marriage together. And so that was our last day in the room. We had our last designer run through, and then we all went to the bar, and here we are 8 weeks later. So I hope someday we'll get to do it again, because I think it's worthy. I think it's worth seeing. It's a really interesting piece that has a lot to say about our society, about how we treat marriage, how we treat relationships. And also the evolution of our nation. There were a lot of big ideas, and maybe the United States wasn't quite ready for all those big ideas in 1948, but I think they're ready for it now. Mm-hmm. So I hope that we'll get to do it in like January of next year.
And I think it's also good for our audiences to know that City Center Encores is a place that actually birthed Chicago in 1995, and actually that show went to Broadway, which is still currently playing. So I think that just gives the credibility and the weight of City Centers and what it can do for our community. That starts as a half performance, half reading, if you will, very kind of relaxed, but the power of the shows and the musicals that do have an impact. And I think that that's a great program, and it's great. It really serves our community quite well.
Well, it really puts the music front and center, because the orchestra is on stage, and the orchestra is a full orchestra. So you get a string section, you get a brass section, things that you never ever get in Broadway pits. So that is center stage. And so it's more of like a sort of like a concert version. So even when you go to see Chicago now on Broadway, or whenever it comes back, you'll see that orchestra center stage. And that was true of Love Life too. So Queen's Rainbow that I did in 2009 also came from Encores. So a similar treatment of that show too.
So we've got some comments I'm going to bring up here. This is probably someone you know.
Hi, Darren.
Darren.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who this is, but you guys probably will know.
Oh, hi, Eric.
And then here's someone else from.
Oh, Nate did the duet with me. Could we start again, please? Nate and I. Yeah, and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Here's a comment from a 1963 company member, and it's Andy Bro's nephew, Bill Bro. Bill's been on a couple of times with us. Let's see here. There's someone else.
Time no see. Oh. Hi, Pete.
Here's from Deanna Klein Deal. This was she said this was her first pit experience. Deanna's still doing pit with us. She was in the pit last year, and actually was scheduled to be in the pit with us this summer. Not sure what we're going to have for pit this summer, but we'll see. Singing Over the Rain without body mics was.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good comment, because again, for some of our audiences who might not have come to the Playhouse quite yet, if it rains, if you're in the audience during the show and it rains, it's amplified because our roof is metal.
Yeah.
So you really can hear the thunder and the rain coming down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have that experience during Oklahoma? Do you remember a big rainstorm happening?
We had to
almost pause the show.
Yeah, we did. I don't know if it was Oklahoma. It could have been nonsense, but I remember at least one time we had to pause the show. Yeah. Crazy.
So, what advice do you seasoned professionals have for our TLP resident company that are just maybe were with us the last couple of years or just coming in this summer? Several of them do pop on here and watch this. So what advice do you have for our?
Enjoy this time that you have to just do the work. And, it's something that I'm reminding myself of now as I've taken a break away from it for about 7 years to get a master's in early childhood development. It's a journey. Your acting career is a journey. So you can come and go. There's going to be hills and valleys, but trust in the work and the people that you meet, you will stay connected to. And it's amazing what a small world is.
That small world comment is one that
Yeah.
of course we experience, but we hear everyone talks about the small world.
Yeah. Because I know, Paul, you know Ann Smith, and I've worked with Ann Smith. You went to school with her, yeah?
I did. I went to undergrad with Ann, and we actually had to reconnect since I've been coming back to Chicago, and she's still doing it. She's still in Chicago, and she's a wonderful performer, and
Yeah.
I hope to get her out here someday. Absolutely.
We worked in a comedy improv group, Wavelength,
And you know
for years. So yeah.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of our young performers, you know, they really do find themselves at Timberlake. You know, I think that's one thing that we can say. And I like. Did you find that Timberlake experience? Did it have a lasting effect as you went forward? Something that you were able to take with you and apply to future roles that you would play?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, it was the confidence that you could do it in a week and a half. I was called in to take over a role in original musical Hereafter, and I had 8 days to get it learned. And had I not had that TLP experience, I think I would have psyched myself out and said, I can't do this.
Yeah, the confidence. I carried a lot of confidence with me coming out of it, and Jane Brody, who was the casting director in Chicago, she cast me in my first SAG commercial not too long after that, and that got me on a good path. And then I just wanted to keep the ball rolling, so I kept taking classes, and I ended up taking a stage combat class, which led me into Shakespeare, and I've done Shakespeare for 20 years, and so I mean these little pebbles keep falling, and they keep falling, and then and the water up, and you grow and develop. But yeah, no, capitalize on the confidence that you have, but be kind to yourself and don't expect yourself to conquer the world at once. And just love what you do. As long as you love what you do, it doesn't matter, you know, what kind of day job you have to have, or or if you take a few years off. You know, do it because you love it, and then you won't ever find yourself in a position where you're stressed. You're causing yourself stress because of your chosen profession. I know.
No, yeah, I was going to say something similar in that it feels to me that it's always the same. Like whether it's at Timberlake Playhouse or on a Broadway stage, you still have to like put on your microphone, put on the wig, put on the shoes, get out there and do the thing that you've rehearsed and that you've practiced over and over again, and you've worked on and sweated through and collaborated with somebody else. Like it's a very, I don't want to say simple, but it's just it seems like a very elemental process. And it doesn't, you know, doing it in a big fancy house with thousands of people, you still have to do the same things that you would do no matter where you are. It's this kind of like timeless experience. And as Laurie was saying, it really is about the people that you get to go on that journey with. And I think after all these years of having a career, it always is the people that get you and your investment in those relationships that makes it feel good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. Matt, go ahead.
No, I was just going to bounce off of that, and because that triggered something that think about what you have to give as opposed to what you can get out of a situation, and lump that in with, you know, meeting good people and being kind, and, you know, being present in the relationships that you build. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the three of you for joining us tonight. It has been marvelous talking with you and talking with people who, you know, love this place as much as we do. Where'd Paul go? There he is.
Here I am.
He lost you there for a minute.
The internet out here is sometimes can be a little little hard to get.
Well, I see you've been having a little trouble with your internet over there at the house. Paul's actually only 100 yards away from me here. I don't have enough internet at home to even possibly do this. I live out in the country and get nothing. So I drive to the office to do these, and Paul's in the house across the road too. But Kate, we've heard from Matt about his family life. Tell us about your family life.
Oh, my husband Graham is also an actor, and oh my goodness, why does this keep? Okay, so he is actually like Trisha is on another call right now. He does a lot of audiobooks and podcasts, and he does voiceover for video games. And so he is working on a podcast right now called No Sleep. And thank goodness one of us can keep working during this pandemic. So I'm so glad that he has the capability, and we have, we've turned our garage into an audio booth, which is where you heard me sing Maybe on that stream.
Yeah.
Amazing setup that he found on Craigslist that we like pieced together, like insert tab A into slot B.
Yeah.
From Craigslist.
Well, is he available there to stick his head in the camera and say hello?
He's out in the garage. I'm not sure if I can do that.
Okay.
But Kate, you're homeschooling your 9-year-old, so you are working.
I'm not a good teacher. This is what I've discovered. I'm very bad at teaching because I just do it like this is what happens to me, and that's not what you're supposed to do when you're a teacher. You have to, Laurie. What do you do when you have young children who need to?
I always lead with how they want to approach a problem or what they have to say about it, and then I can come around and kind of redirect or add to it. But I always allow their voice to come through a problem.
We should have you helping with our 10-year or 12-year-old grandson who wants to approach everything through Fortnite.
No. Okay, so kids call me Lolo as a child care professional, Lolo, and I screen time. Now we got to read for 20 minutes before we get it, and when it's Fortnite, it's like 8 minutes. That's crack cocaine.
I will go home tonight. Me and my 2 granddaughters have reading time every night. I'm still trying to get through a Dan Brown book, and they're reading Magic Treehouse. So I think what they're doing is much more fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad you're busy. We wanted to bring Felicia in.
Small world.
Felicia. We were talking about Small World. Your husband and Paul's wife were in a show together.
It's so good to see you, Kate. Hey, y'all.
Hey, honey. How are you doing?
Good. It's good to see you. Give Graham my love.
I will.
So we should tell everybody. So for everybody who don't know, my wife, Felicia, and Kate's husband, Graham, starred in Mamma Mia on Broadway together.
We sweated a lot together, didn't we, Kate?
Lots of sweat in the polyester jumpsuits.
It was a great night in the theater when I got to come and watch you guys dance in spandex around each other.
We wore we had the orange.
We did.
They had the electric orange.
Not everybody looks.
And then Felicia, was it before?
Say that again, Kate.
I said you pulled it off very well, the orange spandex.
Well, I think it was the platform that helped a little bit, right? Graham rocked those platforms more than anybody. I gotta say that. He really did. Almost 7
Graham, that we missed him. We would have liked to said hello, but you can pass that on for us.
And for the record, Graham how tall is he? He's very tall.
He's 6'4", so you put a platform on him, and you know what he liked? What he loved more than anything, Felicia, was doing the hydraulic lift, coming up through the stage. He loved that.
When we had to transfer to the Barrymore,
yes,
that was my heart broke because we couldn't do that.
His too.
I know that feeling. Hydraulics are amazing.
You feel like a rock star, right? Yeah.
Well, and the Winter Garden's a great house, but I'm I hope you get to do the encores because it sounds like a great project.
Thank you. I hope so too. We just, nobody knows anything right now.
What day did it happen for y'all?
We were done on March 12th, the same day everybody else kind of, got shut down.
Yeah.
Alicia was actually en route to go to Tuts, Kate. She was en route to go to Tuts to originate a new musical over there with Dan Connectus called Pure Country. She flew there on a Monday. On a Monday night, they said we're done, and then they flew her back home the next day.
Oh yeah, all of us went through it. You know how it is. I mean, I think about those little girls in the show Six. They were hours from opening.
Yes.
And so we'll come back, won't we? I think so.
Come back stronger.
Well, we're coming up on our hour, Paul.
Good to see you.
Kate, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you,
Matthew,
Laurie.
thank you. Laurie, thank you so much. Felicia, thanks for, Felicia's been out here for a few weeks. This is the first time I've even seen you. We're really social distancing.
Yeah. It's so beautiful out here. It's a beautiful, magical place here for sure.
All right, Kate, thank you so much. Matthew, Laurie, it's been great to see all of you.
Lovely meeting you.
And,
seeing you all.
We'll see you all back again. So, Paul.
Thank you, Felicia, thank you so much. Dan, good show tonight, my friend. Thank you so much for doing what you do, bringing us together.
Well, a quick question for you. Why don't you tell our audience what's happening this next week?
Absolutely. We are very excited, as some of you have known, that we are Timberlake is going to world premiere a brand new jukebox musical. It's going to world premiere show called What a Wonderful World. And we are going to start virtual rehearsals this week to try to get together a presentation. And next week on Sunday, we would like to be able to feature one of the songs in the show. And so I believe we're going to ask Felicia and our music director, Michael McBride, to be able to put together a little song so that we can hear a taste of what's to come.
And we're going to talk with the creative team next week.
Yeah, that's right. The writers.
So that will be nice to be able to do that. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a special show on our education program. Hopefully we'll have enough stuff in 2 weeks to talk about. I hope so. That's going to put us at the beginning of June. So let me put up just a couple of more comments before we close off, Paul. We've got a couple happy birthdays to Sheldon.
I also really want to quickly say, Dan, you just celebrated a birthday, and I want to say happy birthday to you, my friend. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're finally 21 years old.
Yeah, well, my beard is growing into my age. Let's see here. There was another one I wanted to show, but I'm having trouble finding it. Well, anyway, a lot of people wishing us luck on our planning, wanting to get out here, and thanks for sharing stories. Thank you all who have jumped on and have done that survey for us. We are very grateful to those of you who are doing the survey, and that's about it. Anything else, Paul?
I just want to say thank you to everybody to continue to tune in. These are very difficult times, and it's really nice to be able to connect with you in some way, even if it's virtual, because you guys, we can't do it without you. So thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Dan.
Everyone. Take care.